Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to explain what is the NAT gateway in AWS, how to create the NAT gateway, and what is the purpose of this NAT gateway. For this demonstration, I'm going to create one VPC. Okay. In this VP, I'm going to create one public subnet. Okay, and one private subnet. And I'm going to create one more private subnet. Okay. So in this, I'm going to launch one web server. This is going to communicate with the outside of the world. For that, I'm going to create one internet gateway. Okay, this is the internet gateway create and I want to attach it to the VPC. This is called internet gateway. Okay, so I will show you practically. First, try to understand what is the NAT gateway. So in this private subnet, I'm going to create one private instance with the database. So for this, I'm going to create one more. For this public subnet, I want to create one public route table. Okay, this is the public route table. Public public route table and add the gateway route to this route. Okay, we have to add one route to this internet gateway, and I want to create one more private route table. This is the private route table I want to create. Okay, so once you create the private route table, you have to associate this private subnet to this route table and this public subnet to this public route table. I will show you each and everything. So the communication between these two subnets, okay, will create by the AWS automatically. That means the routes for these subnets, two subnets is created by the AWS. No need to create external routes for these two subnets. Internal routes will be created by the AWS. Okay, now I'm going to show you. Suppose if I'm working from home or office, then I want to communicate with this web server. Okay, this is the public instance. This is the public instance. Okay, if I want to communicate, then I want to access through. Okay, sorry. So if I want to access through internet this public instance, I'm going to connect this IGW, that is internet gateway. After that, the internet gateway, through internet gateway, it will reach the public route table. Here we already made the route entry for this internet gateway. I will show you that one how to create the route for the internet gateway. Once it will reach the route table, it will check for the route for this subnet. Okay, from this route table to this instance we can reach. Okay, now to access this database instance, this private instance or database instance, this is the private instance I call. How do you access this one? So there is no public gateway to this private instance, right? If you want to access from outside of the world this private instance, it's not possible because there is no entry for this route table. Okay, that's why we cannot access this private instance from the outside of this world. Okay, but in this video I'm going to explain. I want to create the NAT gateway. I want to allow this private instance to outside of the world. Okay, how it is possible? This is possible because of NAT gateway. So for that I'm going to create one NAT gateway and I want to attach it to the public subnet, not private subnet. Keep it in mind. I want to create the NAT gateway and I want to attach it to the public subnet. Then it will allow the private subnet to the world. But if I want to communicate from the ISP or outside of the world, it's not possible. Even though you create the NAT gateway, if you want to access it from outside of the world, this private instance not possible. But this private instance can communicate through the NAT gateway to the outside of the world. Okay. So the case study for this one is when you launch a database like SQL server or any server in the private instance, you want to update the patches for this private instance, then it should communicate the internet. Then that communication could happen through this NAT gateway. Okay, this is the case. Now I want to do it practically. Let me go that. First, I want to create the first step. I want to create the VPC with 10 series, and I want to create two subnets. One is public subnet. The CIDR for this one is this one. Okay, and one private subnet. The CIDR value for this one 2.0/24. Okay, let me change this value to 24. Okay, after that I want to create, then the third step I want to create the route table, public route table and private route table. For this public route table, I want to associate public subnet. Then for the private route table, I want to associate private subnet. Okay. So here you have to understand what is the public subnet and private subnet. The public subnet is nothing but if it is exposed to the internet is called public. So private is opposite to this public. This is not exposed to internet. This is simple way. Okay. Now we already create VPC, public and route table. After that we have to create the NAT gateway. Fourth step we have to create the NAT gateway. You have to while creating the NAT gateway, you have to select the public subnet. Okay. So all are going to confuse over here. Here we have to select the public NAT gateway, public subnet only. Okay. After that, we have to launch two VMs in public subnet and private subnet to check the NAT gateway is working or not. Okay. Now let me show me this in example. So first I want to create the VPC. Okay. Let me create the VPC name. You can give any name. I am going to create production VPC. So here I am going to give the CIDR value is 10.0.0.0/16. Okay. I'm going to keep the default values. I'm not going to touch anything. I'm creating the VPC. Okay. After that, I'm going to enable the host names for this one. VPC settings, and I want to enable the host names. Okay. Save this. First step is completed. After that, we have to create two subnets. Okay. And in the same VPC, I'm going to launch two subnets. Same VPC, that is production VPC. Okay. So I'm going to create two subnets. One is public subnet can give any name as per the subnet. I want to select this reference. Okay, we add one more subnet. Here I'm going to create the private subnet. Okay, here I'm going to select the zone 1B, and I'm going to create the CADR value for this one 2.0/24. Okay, and create subnet. So let me tell you one more thing. Here I'm going to create the fourth step as create internet gateway to access from the office or home. You have to create the internet gateway and attach it to the VPC. VPC. Okay. Now I'm going to create the internet gateway. Create internet gateway. You can give any name. Here I'm going to give prod internet gateway. You can give any name, not a problem. And attach this. Let me show you the gate. This is the gateway I created and I attached it to the VPC. This is here we have to select the production VPC and attach the internet gateway. That means we allowed internet gateway to the VPC. Okay. After that, we have to create the route tables. For that, create route table. First, I'm going to create the public route table and attach it to the production VPC and create route. Okay. Once you create the route table, you have to associate the public subnet. For this, what you have to do is just select the route table and from here, see subnet association and go to edit subnet association. Here you have to select the public subnet only. Don't select private subnet also. If you select the private subnet, this becomes to the public subnet. So hence, I selected only public subnet. Okay, now save association. That means we are allowing the public subnet to the internet gateway. Okay, after that you have to enter the route entries for this one. See, when you create the route table, the AWS automatically create the route for this one. For this route table internally, this will create it. AWS will create. Okay, this is the local only. Okay, so for this route entry, you have to add the internet gateway route. For that, what you have to do is just go to the routes. Under routes, you have to click on the edit routes. So here you have to add the public route. If you enter 0/0/, this is nothing but any IP address other than this one. Okay. If any IP address other than this 10 series, then it will go through the internet gateway. Okay. If any IP address from this series, this CIDR, then it is going to communicate the local. If any other than this IPC series, then that goes to the route, this internet gateway. Okay. This is what I'm going to explain here. Let's just click on save. Now public route table is created. Okay. And I'm going to create the private route table also. For that, I'm going to create the private and I'm going to attach to the same VPC and create route. Okay, once you create the route here, the route table, you have to associate the private subnet. Just click on edit subnet association. Wait, sorry, I selected different one. You have to select the private route table and go to the subnet association and edit the subnet association. Here you have to select the private subnet and save association. Now you have to go and check the routes. I'm not going to attach any internet gateway. If I attach the internet gateway, this will go and communicate the internet gateway. But our intention is to create the NAT gateway. Then the communication should exit through the NAT gateway to the outside of the world. That is the one we want to explain. Okay. Now create the NAT gateway. So in the VPC dashboard, if you in the left hand side, if you scroll down somewhere, you can see NAT gateways. Just click on the NAT gateway. To create the NAT gateway, one elastic IP is required. So you can create it right now, or while creating the NAT gateway, it is going to create. So I'm not going to create the elastic IP. Just I'm going to create NAT gateway. Just click on it. Here you can see create NAT gateway. Just here you can name the NAT gateway. I'm going to create NAT gateway. You can give any name. Here you have to select the public subnet, not private subnet. Keep it in mind. You have to select public subnet only. Okay. So here see, it is going to ask is there any elastic IP. So there is no allocated IP. So hence I'm going to create the one allocate elastic IP. This is the public IP. Okay. Okay. Now I created the elastic IP and scroll down and create NAT gate. That's it. Very simple. You have to create the NAT gateway and attach it to the public subnet. That's it. Now you have to enter the route entries in the two route tables. Okay. Go to the dashboard, VPC dashboard, and go to the route table. Let me show you the first let me launch to EC2 instance, then let me check the communication, then we can enter the NAT gateway route entries. Let me launch the instances first. Okay, now I'm going to launch the public instance in the public subnet. Okay, this is the name as public VM. So here I'm going to select the Amazon Linux. So after that, here I'm going to select the, okay, I don't have any one. I'm going to create one key. Okay, create key file NAT kit. We can give any NAT, any name for this one. Here I'm going to create NAT key. Okay, create key and download it. It is already downloaded. Okay. Now you have to select the public subnet. This is the production VPC and I'm going to select the public subnet and you have to enter enable. Okay, before that, let me do one more, cancel it. I want to enable one option for the subnets, public subnet. Just I want to go to the public subnets and go to actions. Here I want to edit the subnet settings. Here I want to enable this option. This will allow us to allocate one public IP to the EC2 machines when you have created a new VMs in the public subnet. Okay. So when you enable this option will allocate one public IP to the EC2 machine if you launch that EC2 machine in public subnet. Okay, let's save. Okay, now I'm going to launch the EC2 machine. Let me launch it. Public VM I'm going to launch. Okay, I'm going to select the Amazon Linux. I'm going to select the key NAT key. Under the VPC section, I'm going to select the production VPC. From the subnet, I'm going to select the public subnet. I want to create the security key. There are no security groups. I'm going to create one thing. So to come to access the Linux machine, we have to allocate 22 port for the SSH. Okay. and scroll down. We have to protocol this one. Okay, SSH 22 we have to enable for the security groups. After that, scroll down and launch. That's enough for me. That means I'm going to launch the one public EC2 machine in public subnet. After that, I'm going to create one more private instance. Let me launch it. Private VM. I'm going to select the same Amazon Linux. I'm going to select the same key. Here I'm going to select the same sub public production VPC. After that, I'm going to launch this one in private subnet. Okay. Okay. Again, I'm going to give the same security group. Okay. I'm allowing the same allow port 22 and launch it. Let me go to the instances section. See, this public VM, you can see the public IP address. Let me show you the public IP. See, if you can see the public IP, see, means this is going to communicate to the ISP, that is internet. Through internet you can access. Okay. See, let me show you the private instance. There is no public IP, means we are not able to access it from outside of the world. Okay, let me connect to this one first. Okay, we have one. Let me copy this one. So I want to create the .ppk file for this one. For this, we have to require puttigen. Let me load the key. Yeah, import the key from. This is the NAT one, right? Let me save the file first. So using puttigen, we can create the .ppk file, which is going to connect to the, which is that .ppk file is used to connect the Linux systems. Okay. Okay, I'm going to give password for this. Okay, save private key. Okay, I'm going to create .ppk. Okay, that's it. Using puttigen, we can create the .ppk file. Okay, let me attach this key. NAT ppk I'm going to attach. Okay, here I'm going to use by default EC2 hyphen user is created under this EC2 missions. Now I'm going to copy the public IP. This is the public IP. Okay, open it. See, now you are connected to this public mission from the outside of the world. See, this is the 110.0.1.183. Okay. If you want to access, let me show you one more thing. I want to access this private mission. Then I want to I want to access this one. This mission we cannot access this from the outside of the world. For that, we need to connect this public mission first, and from the public mission we can this access this private mission. Okay. So let me copy the key file into this public mission from the NAT key. Where is that? This is the NAT key. Let me copy and paste into this my public mission. Using this key, we can access that one. Okay. Okay. Let me. We can give any name for this, not a problem. But we have to save the .pem. Okay. Let me save this. Okay. You have to give read-only permission this. For that, we am using chmod 400 NAT key. That 400 means we are going to give only read access to this PEM key. Okay, now I'm going to uh, connect that private machine using SSH using this key. Okay, EC2-user is by default created to the Amazon Linux. I want to access the private IP address of this public private VM. You have to type yes. See, from the public machine, I connected the private machine. Okay, first I connected to the public machine. After that, I from the public VM to private VM I connected and I accessed it. Okay, now I'm going to check whether I'm able to access internet or not. Just I typed ping.google.com. The ping should not happen. Okay, that means there is no internet to the private machine, but we created NAT gateway. That NAT gateway allow this private machine to the outside of the world. Okay, for that what we have to do is for this route entry we have to add the route entry into the private route table. For that you have to go to networking section. Here you can see this is the private subnet. If you go to the private subnet, we can see the route table, this one. Okay, route table, just click on it. For this route table, private route table, you have to add the NAT gateway route entry. Just click onto the private route table, and private route table properties, go to the routes. Here you can click on edit routes. So if any 10 series, it is going to communicate locally. That is established by the AWS. But I want to allow this mission to outside of the world. Then we have to select the NAT Internet Gateway, which is we created. So here you can see NAT Gateway. This is we are already created. Now attaching this NAT Gateway entry to this private route table. Just save this. Now it should communicate. See, earlier when you ping.google.com, that is not happened. After adding this NAT route to this private route table, the communication started. Okay, this is how we can create the NAT gateway and allow private mission to the internet. Then we can sudo apt get update. Sorry. Now I'm going to update the OS of this Linux. Let me sudo apt get update. Sorry. See, now it is going to download the Linux patches, right? This is going to download nothing. You can ping anything. Ping gmail.com. It is going to communicate outside of the world. Okay. This is how you have to create the NAT gateway and allow private EC2 machine to the outside of the world. When you create the NAT gateway, we cannot access the private instance from the outside of the world. Okay. But this private machine can communicate to the outside of the world, that is internet, through NAT gateway. Okay. This is how we have to create the NAT gateway. What we have to do is first we have to create the VPC and create the public subnet, private subnet. While creating the NAT gateway, we have to select the public subnet only. In the private route table, you have to add the NAT gateway entry. I'm going to add one more point. For the private route table, we have to add NAT entry. Okay. This is how you have to create the NAT gateway. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.